Just 7 weeks to go in the pro football season, and these divisional races are getting a bit too close for comfort. But how many of these teams are deceiving us versus the real deal come January? We're likely going to argue about it in, 30 seconds. So don't go anywhere. Chalk and Chat starts right now.
From Las Vegas, this is Chalk and Chat. Sponsored by Superbook in Westgate, Las Vegas.
Welcome into Chalk and Chat. I'm Mariah Janos. We're officially into the back half of the schedule, watching the parity unfold before our eyes. But you know where there's no parity, and it's simple, pure dominance compared to the rest of the field. Right here in this studio, we've got pure standalone, the best of the best when it comes to the experts. That's right. I'm talking about this guy right here. He may not be able to tell you what he had for breakfast, but he can tell you who won the Heisman in 1984. The memory of an elephant when it comes to what truly matters, football. It's Teddy Covers, and next to him, his brain should be studied. He is one of one, but in a very questionable way. It is Fat Jack.
Our free plays have been dominating. Don't kid yourself. So yeah, things are good.
All right, coming up on today's show, I mentioned the divisional races. We're comparing this year's leaders to last, and it has been the season of the backup quarterback. How much does the guy under center impact the spread? And we're closing out with our prop battle and best bets.
People are going to learn something today.
They're going to learn. School is in session. And Teddy, let's start here. A lot of, recreational players, they look at these numbers. They don't really pay attention to the half point, six, whatever. And they just take it anyway. But how much does the half point actually matter, especially when we're looking back at Week 11's games?
Last week, 5 different games decided by a half a point. Miami minus 2.5 against Washington and Berlin. Oh, they won by 3. Green Bay 7.5 against the G-Men. They won by 7. Oops, that's a half point. Baltimore minus 7.5 at Cleveland. They won by exactly 7. Again, the hook makes all the difference. The total, Baltimore-Cleveland, 38.5, landed 39. Of course, got bet down throughout the week. You could have lost by a half point. Either way, you bet that total if you didn't do it in the right way. And, of course, let's not forget the Thursday night game with New York and New England, minus 12.5, minus 13, minus 13.5, landed right on 13. Those half points don't matter all the time, but when they matter a lot.
Yeah, the last one was a stinger. All the contests had that at 12.5. It ends 13, so they end up, New York should have probably gotten there, you would think, if you get the number early enough. We talked last week about wagering versus handicapping and being able to take some responsibility in the numbers you're getting. So this is real timely this time of year as well, when those profit margins are kind of shrinking for the average player. If they had started out okay, these type of games do matter. So getting a good number is important, and last week was a good example of that.
Yeah, and looking at this year's this year's teams compared to last year's and these divisional races, we talked about it off the top of the show, it's looking quite different from this time last year, and we'll talk about it next block. I know. I don't know how much we can buy into it, but don't go there just yet. Teddy, just let's look at this year compared to last.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty clear dichotomy right now. And again, there's still a month and a half left of the regular season. There's still the postseason. Mm-hmm. But last year, Houston, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, all division winners in the AFC. Right now, if the season ended today, only one of them would even be in the playoffs, and that would be Buffalo as a wild card. They're way behind New England in the standings right now. New England, Indy, Denver, those are sure looking like this year's teams as opposed to last year's teams. And the faster that you get the division between last year's and this year's, the more money in theory you can make. Same story in the NFC. In the NFC, maybe there's more frauds. Chicago's in first place. I'm sure you're going to give us some Chicago news, Jack, before this show.
Very likely.
Yeah. Carolina, just a half game out of first place. Seattle is 7-3. Seattle just covered and had a chance to win in a road game where they committed 4 turnovers against an elite foe. And they're still, they've really played well, 7-3 for Seattle. Meanwhile, Minnesota, last year they won 14 games. This year they're a last place team. Washington reached the NFC Championship game last year. This year they're 3-8.
Yeah, I won't focus on the strength of schedule because I know we're going to get to that later, but I will tell you the other important part of this, it speaks to the parity in the league, are the half-point or the one-score games inside a field goal. Last year you had teams like Kansas City winning all the close ones and Chicago losing all the close ones, including the Hail Mary. Now you're getting a kind of a reversal of that. Chicago doing much, much better in those one-score games. Kansas City not so much, and we're seeing the rankings reflect that.
I'm loving seeing Mahomes run out of magic down the stretch there. It's been really, really fun, I think.
Yeah,
Kansas City won the division 9 years in a row. All right, they're okay. They're allowed to have a hiccup. They're allowed to have a hiccup season.
Hey,
and
I know.
They've got a real interesting one this week we'll talk about as we
Yes,
sure do.
They definitely do. All right, we're just getting started here on Chalk and Chat. Coming up, 3 things are certain in this time: death, taxes, and Jack's brutal honesty. He's exposing the frauds of the league. When we come back, I don't know if I fully agree, but we're going to get into it.
You're watching Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Superbook in Westgate, Las Vegas.
All right, we are here at the Superbook at the Westgate, Las Vegas. I'm joined by the Vice President of Race and Sports, Mr. John Murray. All right, before we get into Week 12, I want to go back to Week 11. How'd you guys do overall here?
A little disappointing. I mean, I think I'd say we won more games than we lost, but we lost all the big ones. You know, you talk about Buffalo beating Tampa Bay in the morning, Baltimore coming back to beat Cleveland, and then we lost the Sunday and Monday games. The favorites, Philadelphia and Dallas, both covering, not good.
Now, when I came in here today, the first thing I did was look up at the odds board, and the thing that jumped out at me most was Philadelphia and Dallas. Philly with just a 3.5 point edge in this one. Why so short?
Well, we are open for business if you think it's that easy. You know, you're welcome to go and bet on Philadelphia. I think it's important people understand that we know money's going to come in both ways, and we need to win enough of these games over the course of the year. Look at last Sunday. It looked like Kansas City was easy. They were minus 3.5 at Denver. Denver won. We did very well in that game. I think Philadelphia, they're a very good team. They're one of the best teams in the league. They don't score a lot of points. I don't think it's going to be that easy for them to cover that many points in Dallas.
Okay, and another matchup I wanted to discuss with you. We've got Pittsburgh and Chicago. The quarterback situation in Pittsburgh: Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph. Is there much of a line movement there, if depending on who's starting? No.
I don't think so. I mean, I'll be nice. I'm in a charitable mood here around the holidays. Let's say that he's worth 0.5 point. Talking about Aaron Rodgers, I don't even know if that's true. Rudolph has been in Pittsburgh for so long; he knows the system. Rodgers has really struggled recently. I don't really think it makes any difference.
All right, John, thank you so much. There it is. Okay, good stuff there from John Murray. What he just touched on at the end there, we're going to roll that into right here, right now. We just talked about Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh. Look, this has been the season of the backup quarterback, okay? And right now we got the list of all of them here. There's 13 to 14 quarterback changes, especially if you look at New York, you add that extra one. So Teddy, how much we just heard John talk about it a little bit, but with all of these backups in, how much do they matter against the spread?
Yeah, so we focus a lot on the quarterbacks, and when quarterbacks gets hurt, you always assume it's going to be this huge difference. And there are a handful of QBs in the league that when they get hurt, they're going to affect the point spread by more than a field goal. There's basically 3 of them. You know, Josh Allen gets hurt in Buffalo, big difference. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, big difference. Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, big difference. Every other QB in the league is worth a field goal or less. And we talk about the bigger differences right now, Joe Flacco to Joe Burrow. If Burrow comes back for Cincinnati, that's probably worth close to a field goal. Marcus Mariota, who's been pretty good, to Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels is really good. Those are probably worth a field goal. But less than that, I mean, Michael Penix to Kirk Cousins, that's not worth a whole lot. Dylan Gabriel to Shedeur Sanders, that's worth a little bit. Again, a couple of points, a point or two. Davis Mills versus C.J. Stroud is worth a point or two in Houston. J.J. McCarthy has been awful, but his backup is the Max Brosmer, who hasn't played in the league. So that's still worth a couple of points between starter and backup there. Brock Purdy's worth more than Mac Jones. He's worth a couple of points. But then they're the ones that there's basically no difference. You know, I mean, Tyrod Taylor's maybe a 0.5 point better than Justin Fields. You know, you just heard John Murray talking about how Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, from a point spread perspective, from a powering perspective, not much difference between the two. Geno, he's still starting. We'll see when Kenny Pickett gets his chance. That's not worth much. Jackson Dart versus Russell Wilson versus Jameis Winston, not much difference there. Spencer Rattler versus Tyler Show in New Orleans. Jacoby Brissett versus Kyler Murray in Arizona. basically no parting difference between that last group of quarterbacks, Jack.
Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, all probably a step down from that top tier down to that next one. But kind of the point's the same, that you're almost always you're going to find value in the line move based on that, and you're going to need to be tempted to play the underdog more than going with the team that has the backup against the backup quarterback, because the market will overreact to that, thinking there's more value than there is.
Yeah, and also another thing to talk about here, which we've been saving. Jack's been ready to go on his rant now for.
There's some teams that are frauds.
Time. I mean, yes.
No, we're going to figure it out. But winter's coming, Mariah. So get yourself a scarf on, because New England and it's coming. I mean, let's start with the other one, because Chicago's as big of a fraud. We talked about one-score games and how Chicago had been really bad in one-score games last year. This year they've been much, much better, but their record has been built against horrible football teams. And I understand there's a lot of parity in the league, and I guess if they make the playoffs, it's going to be one of those you're going to have opportunities. So it's something to watch going forward. Nobody wants to walk up and play teams like Cincinnati and even Pittsburgh with the way they've played at quarterback. I'm not saying jump on them this week, but it's absolutely something to watch. Chicago's wins Dallas, Las Vegas, Washington, New Orleans, Cincinnati, New York, the G-Men, and Minnesota. This is not a team that has beaten anybody any good. The fans in Chicago are loving it. They're eating bratwurst, they're eating deep dish pizza, and they're staying warm because of all these wins. But it's a little bit fraudulent to think this team's taking that next step, even with the coaching change. And the other one, I think even bigger. New England has all of their wins. Listen, the quarterback's a smoke show. Nobody can argue with that, all right? I know he's a good-looking dude. I know that there's some man crushes going on with him, but this is a team that's beat all of their wins against the bottom 10 teams in the entire league. So I get that the face of the franchise is better. I understand we want New England to improve, but they have not done it yet. And in that, they're only 9th in total offense and 8th in total defense against these bad teams. Teddy, tell me why I'm wrong.
So you're wrong with Chicago.
Yeah, Teddy,
She's got a hand up. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, with Chicago is plus 16 in turnovers, all right, which is clearly unsustainable. But when you have a defense that's forcing them, an offense that's not turning the ball over, that is sustainable.
That's what everybody says that has a plus in the turnover margin. Our defense is causing it.
There's hope for Chicago. For New England, and this is a lesson that I've learned the hard way, unfortunately, many times. You can only play the teams that are on your schedule in front of you. You can't change your schedule once the league gives it to you. So even though they've beaten up on weak teams, they did win at Buffalo, beat Buffalo in Buffalo, and beat Tampa in Tampa. I think there's hope for New England as well.
I'm probably Debbie Downer, but I'm just saying there are some kinks in the armor with these two teams, and I think we'll see them going forward.
You know what's wild is I think your passion part of it is because you're projecting it at me. It's not even like
I want you to fail.
It's like as if I am Mike Vrabel. He's coming at me.
I want you to fail.
You just said winter is coming. Winter's coming in the next block as well. Gear up. The prop battle is next. Stick around.
You're watching Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Superbook in Westgate, Las Vegas.
All right, it is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the prop battle. These two going head to head to see which players are going to go over or under their yardage for each game. So we're going to start down in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. All right, over under 206.5 passing yards against New Orleans, Teddy.
Yeah, we're actually going to start in New Orleans. Atlanta's playing.
Excuse me. Yes.
Yeah. But we'll start in the Big Easy. Cousins under 206.5 passing yards. This guy has 52 pass attempts this season. He's had his share. He doesn't like to be sitting on the bench all year. He's had 52 pass attempts this year. One of them has gone for longer than 20 yards. It's all dinky dunky. And Cousins isn't at the stage in his career right now where he wants to take a whole lot of hits. So I'll take the under on passing yards against a feisty New Orleans defense.
Yeah, I don't love anything about New Orleans. It's clearly their feisty defense. And I also think, when I go out and run the first time I'm sore.
Run.
No, I don't. But if I did, I'd be sore the first time. The second time, I'd be ready to roll. And I think that's what we're going to get with Kirk Cousins. He's got some reps under his belt, running with the ones in practice, and they learned from last week's dinks and dunks. I think he actually throws it down the field. This is going to be a week with all these, I can already tell. We're going to want to go back a couple of years and look at what used to be with some of these players, and I think we're going to be able to flex our muscle. We're going over the 206.
He has had some surprising games. He's pulled them out before.
In his career, we need a little fountain of youth,
Yeah.
and we're going to get over that number.
We love the fountain of youth. All right, next up, Quinshawn Judkins, over under 71.5 rushing yards against a struggling, inconsistent Raiders defense.
Yeah, right here in Las Vegas. Quinshawn Judkins is one of those names, doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue. He is a rookie running back for Cleveland, and he's pretty good. And the offensive line for Cleveland, the pass protection hasn't been there, but they've been able to blow open holes for the running game. And when you have Shedeur Sanders making his first career start for Cleveland, what do you do with a rookie QB making his first career start? You protect him by handing the ball off a lot. I like Judkins over attempts. I like Judkins over yards against this struggling Las Vegas team.
Watching Las Vegas play is like watching an old naked man dry heave in the nude. I mean, it is tough to keep your eyes on
That
it
is
this year.
So graphic.
But I will tell you that you realize Shedeur Sanders' dad is Deion Sanders.
I do.
Okay, well, I think we're going to get a little bit more of that Sanders swag going this week. They're going to get it down the field. They've got to get it out quick, but I do think there's not going to be as many handoffs as the market would predict. So I'm going to say Sanders has kind of a breakout game. I'm pulling for him. I think they're going to throw it a little bit more, so let's go under on his rushing game.
Coach Prime showing up with the entourage, getting everyone juiced up. We'll
Vegas,
see.
baby,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be a spectacle, that's for sure. All right, last but not least, George Pickens, over under 4.5 receptions against Philly.
Yeah, it'll be much more of a spectacle than watching ostriches on TikTok.
That's what I do during Vegas games, guys.
George Pickens, Dallas, over 4.5 receptions. After a little bit of juice with this one, but he's over 7-2 in the last 9 games. The first meeting between Philly and Dallas, I remember it well because I had the over in that game, and there were no punts until the lightning delay, and then they didn't score again. But the first 9 drives were all back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. I'm expecting a lot of punts here. I think this Dallas team has some upside right now, and I think Pickens goes over 4.5 receptions.
So it's that or Philly's defense. They've now become one of the favorites to win it all. Is really getting their own, and they're not going to want to take a lot of chances with trying to get the ball down the field, so fewer passing attempts there. I do think Philly's defense is playing well. Also, nobody's guarding CeeDee Lamb, so I keep throwing to CeeDee Lamb. You don't have to go to Pickens. It's the same guy who has some drop problems as well earlier in this year and in his career, so I'm going to go under his 4.5. I think that pass rush gets to Prescott a lot.
Okay, good stuff, guys. All right, finally, on Chalk and Chat, both Jack and Teddy are yearning for a bounce-back week with their best bets. Hear who they like after the break. Don't yell at me, guys. I'm sorry.
You're watching Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Superbook in Westgate, Las Vegas.
All right, it is time for best bets. You guys, struggled a little bit last week, but that's all right. That's all right. You're gonna have wins.
So
You're gonna have
fun.
ups and downs. It's a long season. You gotta pace yourself.
So many ups.
Ready to kill me.
Well, the truth of it, okay, we're not going to win every week, and I don't think we're going to lose every week.
Yeah.
But the goal is, and this is a slow and steady wins the race type of game.
It's
if
true.
You want to get rich quick scheme, good luck. But
This
our
isn't it.
goal is and finish the season in the black, not in the red. And we're on our way to doing
That's a
that.
boring way of saying we're dominating this year. All right, total dominate. We lost last week. Every once in a while, we're going to have a loss. But yeah, we've been rolling along, not a mention in sight, and we're going to get back on track now.
Because I don't want to jinx it. It's like when we're watching the games and they're like, oh, he hasn't thrown an interception all season, and then what happens on the next play?
yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put that out there and be like, you know what, you guys are red hot, and then it all crashes and burns.
Such a queen. You
Yeah.
ready for a winner?
I'm ready.
Kansas City, Indy, under the total. All right, this is
Okay.
playoff time. Get it done or go home and do laundry. All right, Kansas City's done with the losses. And what we see out of Andy Reid is more conservative offense. Time of possession is important. They cannot afford a shootout. This is not a Kansas City offensive team that's scoring a bunch of points ever. They are 17-1 straight up their last 18 at home, and I suspect they're going to give a game effort this week. Also, so the free winner's on the under, but another stat with Kansas City for those of you looking at it this week, there have been since 1990, 15, this is the 15th team
Wow.
that is 500 or worse that's playing a team that has won 80% of their games in week 11 or later. So exactly what this is, a 500 team favored over an 80% win. You know those other 14 teams, they're 14-0 straight up. and 12-2 against the number. So sometimes these numbers will lead you toward where you should be. I'm not saying let's not shove all our chips in.
You really dug deep for that stat.
So on it.
Wow,
Teddy stat.
Mr. Analytics. No, you're Teddy today. That's crazy.
Under the total in Kansas City.
Wow, Jack did his homework for once. Okay, Teddy.
Well, somebody did. I cheated.
What do you have for us today?
Yeah, the problem is I can't be Jack. I can only be me.
No, that's all right. We'll take you.
I appreciate it. So you're going under in Kansas City.
Yep.
I'm going over in L.A. Let's talk about Tampa and the L.A. McVays. We're going to go over 49. I like that, L.A. McVays. It's got a ring.
Yeah, it's nice.
49.5, the prevailing total as we speak. Tampa's defense has been giving up big plays in bunches. The last 2 games, they've given up 7 different plays. I believe they've all been touchdowns of 40 yards or more. That's just in the last 2 weeks. Couldn't stop anyone in either of those ball games. New England, Buffalo moved the ball up and down the field against them. I think LA has that potential as well. Tampa cashing overs in bunches, 7-2 to the over in their last 9 ball games. And the quarterback matchup here, Matthew Stafford versus Baker Mayfield. These are 2 QBs who have been in the MVP conversation basically all year long on national TV in a single event showdown. I think we're going to see points. Let's go Tampa, LA, over the total.
You see what just happened there?
Total Kings?
Total Kings. I was
Total
going to say exactly.
Kings!
Total Kings. If we go 2-0, I'm bringing crowns.
Okay. Okay. I love a crown. I love a prop.
It's coming.
We got way too excited.
Total Kings.
It's annoying. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I want to ask you though. You know, you're hyped on Kansas City getting things going again. Is this the point? Is this the point where they revert back for the remainder of the season to what we've been used to seeing the past 9 seasons?
Go ahead, Teddy. What do you think?
What do we think?
They turned the corner, or is this just we're not looking at the team we've been seeing?
We can buy low on Kansas City right now.
Okay.
That being said, I don't see this particular version of KC making it all the way to the Big
I'm
Ten.
the same way. I think that this will be a bump, and they'll stay in the playoff conversation for a while longer. But they're not put together in a way.
All right. Well, let's hope they fall out of that playoff conversation. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. We will see you next week for some turkey time.